Hey guys, welcome back to Soul Food. This episode is brought to you by friends and family at Soul. Still with our friend Lynnette.
Yes.
Hello.
And of course, with Lynnette here, and she's a licensed counselor.
Yeah.
And she's also in psychology, helping people.
Right.
Thank you for making the world a better place. So because we have her,
A
babe,
healthier place.
Healthier place.
because we have her, we can ask all the hard questions.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, for all of us here at Soul and for listeners at Soul Food, we are in the business of really making the world a better place. And something that we always say in our community is healthy people, healthy communities.
Yep.
Right? Healthier you, a healthier city.
In our space, we say healed people, heal people.
Ah,
I
Right.
want to be a heal people counselor,
yeah. And healing is a journey as well, right?
please. Yeah.
If there's something that I'm learning, if something that I've learned, and continually learning is that healing is a journey.
It is.
It never stops because, at one moment, like, hey, I'm doing better. Next thing you know, another thing hits you in life, and then you have to move on and also grow from it. This particular topic, even for our listeners, a little bit more sensitive. We're going to talk about suicide. And I know it's getting better in Malaysia. What I mean by better is the information about
Yeah,
it,
a lot more awareness.
a lot more awareness.
Definitely.
But people still have, I don't know if it's the right thing to say, a stigma to it. Shameful to talk about it, even if they have experienced it before.
Yeah.
But I think the focus for today is also how, as friends, can we help that person? Sometimes we see like we're talking to our friends, and maybe they extend their hand and then their sleeve goes back, and then why are there scars? And they are like very uniform, in the way they cut, and like, oh no, are they committing suicide? Or is that just inflicting pain on themselves? Maybe it's a mental health issue. Sometimes we hear of stories of friends or friend who standing at the ledge, and really, thank God, someone pulled them back. And for me, my personal experience, I remember this person who, on and off in our community, and who's facing a dilemma in life, and suicide was an option for him. I remember it was MCO. It was really tough. Everywhere was closed, and we were like, and this person, called and said like, kind of like a final goodbye. I remember we panicked. We're like, how am I going to get to him, And we found a way, drove there, and I have to admit that visual still, it stays with me. For me, it's a lesson about the importance of life and fighting for someone. Because I remember when I got to that place, and I'm so sorry to be graphic, but I just want to bring the reality of it. I remember like debris were on the floor. Debris were on the floor because this person tried to use the cable from the fan as a tool to end his life. This person is in a better place, really proud of this person.
What kind of better place? Because
Or better place as in like
Okay.
mentally, not to not crossing over yet to the other part of life, but still here, seek help, is doing better. Really proud of this person in the journey. So, Caroline and I, we kind of like haggle about it. Like, should we talk about it? Should we not talk about it? It's a very sensitive topic. We also want people to feel comfortable, but I guess this inherent part of us, you gotta do something, right?
What's that? What would be your concern? Like, what's the hesitation about? What do you feel afraid of?
Like, okay, one thing that came to my mind is like, will people still want to be a part of our community since we talk about it so openly? Would it be too shameful to address it? Too painful? Because at least this is some of the conversations I have. So I'm hoping that through this conversation, this podcast would help educate even me to, help understand this better. Because now, okay, the awareness is there. If someone is going through this, let's go. mental health clinic.
Yeah.
Let's go find someone, you know. But I always feel that to get to the help, like to meet someone like you, we don't talk about the in betweens.
Yep.
You know, it's the going back and forth. Like you can do it. No, 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 no. You don't understand what I'm going through, and so yeah, I guess that's why I was
think-
afraid to talk about this for a while.
I think I kind of share a similar sentiment with you. Like when it comes to suicide and suicidal talk, and then we get scared to talk about it. I think it's a common stigma. I think most people, a lot of people, afraid of talking about this because they are afraid. What if it's going to cause and create a ripple effect? Like you talk about it, it makes people inspired to do it
want to
and
do
want to do it. And actually, when I also learned about this topic and prepared, right, I found out that it's actually a myth,
Yep.
a misconception that a lot of people. And it's going to limit the awareness, you know,
Yeah.
when people now, NGOs, right, religious bodies, like trying to create awareness about these things, but this kind of misconception actually kind of limit.
Yeah.
But just not like I even like noticed it, you know, when I study it, and I was like, hey, I see it in you. Like just like you say, I'm so sorry to talk about it. I'm so sorry, it's graphic.
Yeah.
But what do you think? I mean, like, should we be not afraid of talking about it? Will it help
That's a good
the
one, babe.
awareness?
Yeah.
Very sharp.
Yeah.
Like picking
Yeah.
up your-
Coffee.
Coffee help.
Cheers,
picking out
babe.
your behavioral
Yeah.
indicators.
I tell you, my
Absolutely
wife,
right.
she can be in psychology. I tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good. You're right. Absolutely right. People shy away from the topic because I think essentially death is something that we shy away from.
Right.
Okay, it's probably not just suicidal, but death itself is hard to talk about. So, but the myth is, you're right, that it doesn't, just because you talk about it, for someone, if let's say you see someone cutting their hands and you feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't touch on this topic, maybe it's too sensitive, or if someone you feel like this person is going down that path, talking about suicidal might give them the idea it's not true. It's not true. It's very far from the truth, actually.
But how? I mean, because you're talking about gore and
The how
and
is it?
death. Like how it would not inspire. Like because, okay, for me, I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong, Lynnette. Like, we don't teach our kids to watch violent movies, right? I mean, yes. I'm not saying that if you watch a violent movie, you will be a violent person. I'm not saying that, but we also limit, you know, or even ghost movies, right? That's why you have fear. So how can you not talk about it and inspire that person? I mean,
I know.
forgive me, not to use the word inspire, but put that idea in,
Yeah.
right?
I like that example because my question is, yes, you don't make your children watch every day, but do you not teach them about what violence is?
Okay,
That's good.
okay.
Man,
All right.
I'm struggling with this too, you know, Lynnette. Like when my kids ask about it, what is suicide, mama?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
what happened to this person or what happened to that person? Like sometimes they are beside me and I'm like scrolling TikTok and then there's this like Korean actress who, you know, commits suicide or whatever. And then the Ayla is right beside me. She know how to read and then she asked me about it. I don't know how to answer it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that I'm putting ideas into her head. Like, what is it about?
Yeah.
Like, but is this good? You know, I think I should change the way I see it. I should change the way I see it in a way that, okay, this is an opportunity for me to teach her.
Educational.
Education,
I mean,
yeah.
just like sex education,
Okay.
right? You just because you don't want to talk about it, do you think you can prevent it from happening? You teach them in advance, right? You
Right.
educate them. So I think for someone who is going through something bad or even if they are really thinking about it, by talking about it, it allows them that space to discuss. Because
Okay.
is it, I mean, the flip side is, do you think that not talking about it stops them from doing it?
No.
You know, you don't give them the airway to talk about it. Sometimes it's worse. So like in therapy, we will never, I think it's normal, like friends and family, if you hear someone wanting to take their life,
Yeah.
you will say like, no, don't do that. You know,
Yeah.
think about your parents.
Yeah.
What would your parents
Think about your future.
feel?
Come
Think
on,
about-
your life is worth it and all of it,
Correct.
right?
What
Yeah.
would how would your children be, you know, if you're gone? So it makes them feel like this is a no-no. Obviously, people are not going to talk about it because they don't feel safe. If I say something, you're going to ban my idea. Why should I tell you? So in therapy, the way we want to tackle this situation is that suicidal is one of the options. Committing suicide is one of the options for someone to manage the situation.
Okay.
But can we also think about other situations? So that's how we want to navigate conversations around suicide.
So what you are saying is that if I know someone wants to commit suicide, I am actually looking at it from his perspective or her perspective that this is one option in their life.
Correct.
And so to help them is to actually say that, hey, maybe there are other options that you can look into.
Correct.
Okay, so when we identify that, then what's next?
So identify what?
Like the options. Okay, so we encourage them, we identify, okay, hey, there are many other options in life. Then how would we encourage them then from then? What's next?
It's kind of instinctive because I personally believe that nobody wants to die.
Okay.
Okay? If I have an option, I wouldn't choose that path.
So people who opt out, people who choose to go for it is because they feel that this
think-
is the only option.
Correct. To get out of this misery.
Right.
To stop the pain that they are experiencing right now.
Okay.
But if you present them with more options, I think it's natural that people would then consider.
Right. Also, our step is to, okay, just provide more options.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
And when you provide options, what would be more effective is you discuss, you brainstorm with them like, okay, what do you think could be other ways of getting around it or coming out from your misery instead of you telling them like, hey, I got 3 options for you that wouldn't work so long.
Okay, I was looking from it from that angle, like,
Yeah.
hey, here are the options for you, and then if you choose this, da 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 da. So we don't do that.
But
don't
also
do
if you come in too strong and you tell them, okay, what about A, B, C?
Yeah,
that
it
also
wouldn't
won't
work.
work.
I'm so sorry. I was
right?
looking from that angle. I was looking from that
Right.
angle, like,
Because
maybe I'm a solution-based person, right?
Like,
Like,
have to come from them.
Correct. The solutions will have to come
But-
from them.
Oh.
But
My-
you create that conversation.
My question is, what makes them not seeing other options? What usually?
oh, that's
the
a good one.
reason, yeah. That they end up that, okay, this is the only one.
Is that something that you're struggling with lately that you're comfortable sharing?
Me? No. I'm good.
Wow.
My life.
My wife is okay, one okay.
Maybe a little bit too much.
So together with us, we have a friend here, here,
Uh-huh.
but you cannot see,
Uh-huh.
right? So this person has been sharing about how, she doesn't feel slim enough.
Oh, I know that
pretty.
friend.
You know that friend?
Yeah, I know that friend.
That could be me too.
Like how it's normal, and no matter what everybody else is saying, that, no, you're so slim. What's wrong with you? This person just couldn't see anything
come.
beside that.
Hey, you wanna join? You wanna hop in there? We love this
You
person.
know my point? Yeah, we love this person,
Yeah.
right? But that's the fact. When you're in that situation, no matter what people tell you, you can't see means you can't see. Even though you're so slim, but the moment you look into the mirror, you don't think you're slim. You don't think you're slim.
Okay.
Could it be because their focus is on other things? Like they are maybe people with suicidal thought, are they maybe too focused on other things? They are too overwhelmed with life, with
I would
problems.
say that for everything else. When you are stuck in a situation where you feel like there's no way out, whether it's suicidal or not, or any events that you're going through, if we are not focusing on the right thing, we will end up being very stuck.
Right.
So it's true for suicide, it's also true for anything else that we are going through.
All right.
Yeah, that feeling of being trapped, stuck in a place and we don't see options. Or we would also think that these options are not going to work.
Right.
So we don't see hope.
I'm thinking like I don't know, maybe I have to change my mindset about this because like I still keep going back to like, okay, can I hear your options? Please tell me your options now. I guess that because I want that sense of relief as a friend. Like that person have already identified the options, but then this one part of me reminded me of the conversation we had earlier in our previous podcast as well. You talk about it's a journey. Healing is a process.
Yes.
So how long we have to wait, Lynnette?
I don't know.
Lynnette, somebody needs a patient practice. In one of our marriage course, right? We will sit and then we talk about this conversation, I agree. Handling conflict, like
Yeah.
we use the tissue box. You use the tissue box, and then I can see that he's struggling when he holds the tissue box when I am trying
Shout
to
out to
talk to him.
Alpha. Yeah,
Yeah,
Alpha marriage
I
course.
think I'm sorry. I'm not trying to label, but I know a lot of men.
Thanks for labeling.
Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah.
You want to see me better. You want
Yeah.
to see the other person better. You want to see the other person to overcome
Mm.
these issues, and then you want to come up with solutions, quick and fast. Let's get over it quick.
Yeah.
But I think what I like from our conversation, it's a good reminder from the previous topic as well. You talk a lot about patience. You talk a lot about you need to trust the process, right?
Correct.
To go through it.
There's this funny phrase that say, we always say they trust the process.
Right.
But the process trusts me or not.
Yeah.
Can I go through it or not? But to top this, to chip in on what you just said, be patient.
Mm-hmm.
I think the shift, the mindset shift is so, we're here to support. We're not here to save.
But how, Lynnette? I mean, if you're just very real and honest, right? I mean, this is some conversation I have with Caroline as well. We met forth, but this is someone's life.
Yeah.
Someone's life is so precious, right? And don't you want to save it at all costs? Because if I'm hearing what you're saying, it's like, if that person goes, the person goes, right? And yeah, I'm aware of the whole idea of we do not want to be carrying that savior complex, right? We cannot save people at the end of the day. There must be something that we can do, right? I don't know if
So,
anyone feels like what I
wait,
feel, right?
I'm sorry if I come across as if this person goes. Even
Okay.
until today, I get very affected by my clients who are actually thinking and actively acting on this path.
Okay.
It affects me. It does affect me. I don't want this person to go. I want to try my very best
Yes.
to save. But I don't want my personal agenda get in the way of their healing process
Yeah.
Oh.
as well.
Can you
Okay.
imagine if it happens to someone that we love or we care, someone close, and then we are the one who know about this information and maybe a safe space for this person to talk? I think it's going to be very hard. Like with someone that I really care, I see them every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to, like you say, right, not to bring our own personal agenda to it because I don't want to lose this person.
Yeah.
What should we do?
This is my next question. Like, what should we do to manage the
because
agenda?
Actually, right at the beginning, just now when we list out the possible question that we want to ask you and we want to discuss, we want
Yeah.
to take up this thing. He was like, let's focus more. But I was like, Khan, it is part of it. Like, the question is, how can I help someone with this and not affecting me? Because
Like, how do I manage my own mental health?
Yeah,
Helping
because
this person going
it's
through this.
naturally like what you say. You are meeting a client maybe you don't know, But what if it's someone that we care?
know.
A child, a brother, a
What if
sister,
it's
a best friend,
For us, we are like
someone in church.
yes. How should we do about it?
Yeah.
Such a
Anything that can
difficult
help us with our mindset?
Mm-hmm.
I still believe that the baseline is there is acknowledging what is not within our control.
Acknowledging what is not within our control.
Yes.
Okay.
So in this case, the ultimate decision of this person is not within our control.
Okay.
And if we harp on it, like in our mind, that I want to help you to make sure that you don't take your life, we are trying to control the uncontrollable. And
True.
that will take a toll on your mental health. So what is really taking a toll on your mental health is not just that this person, the idea of this person might go, of losing this person, but it's also the tension behind you trying to control the uncontrollable. And it's tension because you know that you don't have control over it. And you're trying to grab everything you can
Right.
to control. So releasing that control
Yeah.
is not releasing this person like you go lah. But to release this control so that I make space for deeper connection with this person.
I mean, I've never thought about it that way. That's a good
Because
one.
what healed person heal, right?
You
That's
get what I mean? If let's
Yeah.
say I really want to help Caroline, I want to make sure that she doesn't commit suicide. So every time when I see her, I say, babe, don't do this, don't do this. But when I'm doing this, right, I'm probably closing up that space that I could actually create for her to share, for her to connect with me. Because that is way more important.
And when you say she connect with you, for example, right? She connect with you. This also includes about her suicidal intentions and
Yes.
ideation.
Yes.
And we have to hold that space. That's what you're saying, right?
Correct. And we want to know why, because then if anything happens, we know what is she planning to do. We can get to help faster.
Right.
So if this person is open to share with you, honestly, you can even ask this person, what are you thinking? What are your plans? It's hard to take as a lay person,
Yes.
but you want to brace yourself and ask, actually, if you really want to take your life, what are you thinking about? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Because this gives you information that if this person ever calls for help, you know where to find this person.
Right. That's a good one. I never thought about holding a space for. It's going to be hard. I have to admit, it's going to be hard to have that holding that space. But I get what you mean, because
Yeah.
if can you imagine? I mean, I'm imagining right now. Sorry, like if I keep just bashing in just to save that life, right? That life is precious. No, you gotta look at your future. Please, people love you. If no one tell you that they love you, let me tell you that I love you. Let me tell you that we love you. This community is behind you. I don't know. Suddenly I just had a moment of reckoning. Like, hey, I'm actually talking more than listening. Actually, right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
You know, that releasing control, I think that's exactly what God did. God does to us. He released control. He gives us free will. But do you feel like he's abandoning us? He's letting us go?
no,
Yeah. So releasing control is not the same as
giving up.
giving up, not
Right.
caring. I don't care.
Yeah, I think it's hard for you to grasp at the beginning just now, because if we do this, if we release control, that means that we give up on this person's life,
Yeah.
right? But it is not. I think it's a good analogy, like when you talk about God, like God give us free will, but it doesn't mean that God doesn't care for us and God is not planning for our future and everything else. I think that's a good way. Does it help you, babe?
I think what Lynette mentioned just now about holding that space, even to the extent of, like what I ask, suicidal ideation, suicidal intention. Like, I mean, it goes back to me learning, lah, right? Learning to, okay, I'm going to hear some really morbid things, but I guess from a faith perspective, to trust God that, hey, God is here, that there is nothing morbid, that whatever this person is sharing, or however dark whatever this person is sharing, that there is no hope. I think it's also for me a moment of reckoning to pull away from control.
Yeah.
I guess it goes back to savior complex, right? Trying to save that person, but
Fixated. I think civil complex is fine, but we are very fixated with the outcome that we want to see.
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
because you want to save that person's life, right?
yeah, but it's really not within
Our control.
our control. And I'm not saying that we don't want this person to get better, but maybe the version of better is not the same as what we think
Right.
or we imagine it to be. You know.
I think it's generally most human being is like that. Like we want to see the big picture. We want to
Yeah.
see where it goes. Like in the end of the day, like I have this conversation with this young person, and then she's like in the interception in her life that she want to choose whether A or a B. And then what I told her is, I know like naturally as a human being, we want to see the big picture. Like
Right.
if you are walking right now, you will want to imagine that God actually putting a stage light behind you, and then you see like what is in front of you.
Give me the blueprint, God.
Right, like in the end of it where it goes. But most of the time in life is God give us only a headlamp. It's enough for you to step like one step at a time.
Yeah.
At least enough for you to not go inside that jurang cliff.
Yeah.
Right, and it's okay. I think handling these issues, like if you are going through a suicidal thought, or if you are walking and journeying with someone who have a suicidal thought, maybe take it like that, like you have a headlamp, at least one day at a time. Help them. You like to say it in our community whenever you speak, right? You say that let's be a community that carries someone's burden. At least they can talk, they can walk one
One
more
step.
step.
Yeah, we carry the burden long enough so that the person can breathe
Yes.
again and all. Yeah. But I have to admit, when I say that, it comes from the perspective like what I shared earlier. Like, if it comes to suicide, let's carry that burden and save that person at all costs, because come on, life is worth living, right? The flowers are beautiful, the air smells great, like come on,
But I can't see it.
right?
I can't see it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop you from saving.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't stop us from saving just because this person can't see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? We still do whatever we can.
Yep.
And the most practical help that we can ever provide is to always talk about safety plans. So you preempt them. So these are conversations that we want to talk about like openly.
What are the safety plans that we talk to them about? Like,
So you really like ask them. So these are your plans, right? You plan to do this. Sometimes they'll come out with ABC.
okay.
Okay, this is my option A, B, and C, and say, okay, I really don't want to lose you,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know that if that at some point, if you are so painful, you might just do it. But can you at least please remember me? Maybe. Can you save me as your emergency contact
Right.
on your phone? Can I know who can I contact when I know that you're in danger?
Right.
So we establish very practical plans.
Okay.
And you can even talk about, let's make sure you're safe. Please make sure you're not alone. Is that okay? Can you promise me that you won't be alone as much as you can?
Right.
Always be with someone. So if you know that this person's plan is probably to kill himself using knife or sharp objects, maybe you want to just keep them. So these are very practical things that we can do that we shouldn't give up on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very practical for me.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
think that's
solutions.
Yeah, solutions. Yeah.
But that is like, most of the time we find out about this is when they are already like 50% on it or 80% they are suffering with it. But there's this quote that say that prevention is better than cure, right? Like, how do we, like, I don't know, is suicidal thought came suddenly or does it like came in stages? Like, how do we know? How do we know that, like people who got
Understanding someone, right?
people who got cancer, most of them they figure out when it's already flaring really badly. But
Right.
like they will go for, people will create awareness and tell people to do a body checkup, a
Yeah.
medical checkup, and everything. But when it comes to mental health, what is the things that we can do to prevent?
Yeah.
Depression and suicidal, they are correlated.
Okay.
So you don't just suddenly want to end your life. Usually you have already been experiencing a prolonged level of depression. Yeah, you are feeling very hopeless,
Right.
very helpless about your life. You don't know any way out in your current situation. The pain is just too overwhelming. Yeah, and all this, it's not sudden. Definitely not sudden. You see this person started talking about it.
Right.
Like, what's the point of me in this, staying here? What's the
Right.
point of me living in this world? Yeah, and you start seeing them, maybe there is a change in behavior.
Right.
They're withdrawing themselves. They used to be very hyper or very sociable, and now they don't want to.
Isolation.
Yeah, they don't want to
Keep by yourself.
mingle. Sometimes for those who are experiencing massive depression, major depression, they may not even be able to get up
Right.
in the morning, take a shower, have a meal. So these are very obvious signs that you want to look out for. So anything that is off with this person. And don't be afraid to actually go forward and say, hey, I noticed that something is not very right recently. Something is off. I sense that you want to talk about it.
Wow.
Yeah, so just say you want to talk about it.
Right.
And get the conversation started.
That's a very practical answer. As you're talking about this, one of the questions that came to my mind is, as friends and family members who know that someone is going through it, and then maybe they did it, right? How should we deal with it after that?
So I have a very close friend who witnessed the death of his dad.
The dad committed suicide.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
and he was the one who managed him down because he hung himself.
Oh.
It's very difficult lah. It is very difficult. We hold space lor. There's nothing like it's not like, oh, we have a lot of things we can do about it. But I feel like by holding space, it took him a long time to actually slowly, bit by bit, telling us what happened. So I think
Yeah.
there may not be a lot of things we can do, but there are definitely things that we can choose not to do that might be harmful. For example,
Right.
don't probe too much. Like sometimes we very kepochi, right? Like, huh, really? What happened? If this person is not ready, then don't ask. Just receive whatever that this person is ready to put on the table.
Okay.
Okay? So if he or she revealed a bit, okay, I get it. And if you don't know what to say, go back to this person's feeling. Like, how does it make you feel?
Right.
Like, how are you feeling right now? Just keep going back there, lor, and just, if silence comes, silence comes.
Right.
Yeah.
How about like with a person who is actually the one, like your friend who witnessed it? Like, how did he take care of himself? Like, how, I wouldn't say the word recover, lah, right? It's not really the right word, but like, how did he manage? Especially like, I mean, thanks, Lynn, for sharing that. I mean, it really breaks my heart, lah, to hear that. To carry down your own father.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? Maybe some of our listeners, they are going through that. How do you what precaution or what steps do you take to protect yourself, like, or heal?
So for this friend, I think he took it quite. I wouldn't even say positive. I think it's too big of a word.
Yeah.
He became a bit more aware of his tendency of falling into depression too. So he noticed that there is something that is also going on, like that he noticed his mood swings, and he's also very afraid that what if he becomes like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he seek help. Yeah, that's when I got connected with him more on this issue. So for the rest of us, if you are a witness to it, know that you will go through a lot of emotions, because losing someone to suicide is very different from losing someone to sickness,
Yes.
accident,
Yes.
especially if you're the closest one.
Yeah.
You blame yourself, you are angry at yourself, but more than that, you're also first angry at that person. Why you do this to us? I can't believe you would take your life and leave us. So there's a lot of all these complicated grief and feelings that will come with it. Be very open to seek help. And if you feel like talking to your friends is not safe enough for you, or you don't feel like your friends can support you in that way, please don't shy away from seeking professional help, because this is a very serious situation that you're going through.
Yeah.
You deserve to receive the best treatment or attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for identifying a very real emotion, anger. So you used to talk about it, right? I remember just thinking about the time when I was helping this person. I was actually angry with this person. I'm like, man, I pour out my time, my life
So
for
you think that they are selfish?
you.
Not thinking about other people.
I don't know, babe. I didn't really think that they were selfish. Suddenly you mentioned the word anger. Like you say that, some people, sometimes you feel angry towards that person. And suddenly it clicked with me, like,
Yeah.
I was actually angry with this person. I didn't really go deeper into think whether he's selfish or not, but it was more of like me, like, come on, man. Like, I was here for you. Like, we've been this for 1 year. Like, I remember, right, just because 1 year, I'm here like almost every day with you, like, can't you see the light? Like, I mean, like, I'm just gonna be very honest. I'm just gonna be very honest, right? Can't you see the light? I've been here with you. I'm journeying with you. Like, dude, like, come on, man. Yeah. Anger. I really did feel anger.
Yes. And that is a very, I think, of all emotions, anger is one that will make, how do I say it? It's not it's not widely acceptable. Like, because when you're angry, then you are also questioning yourself that why am I angry? Am I selfish? Why am I like that? Am I a bad person that I'm angry at this person? So you start beating yourself up. You get angry and then you feel guilty for being angry.
Right.
And then it might also then go into shame.
Mm.
Like, I'm a pastor, how can I be angry at this person?
Mm.
You know, so it's a very complicated emotion. For whereas like you talk about grief and sadness, it's very direct. Like you lose something very important to you, you're sad.
Yeah.
But anger is like so complicated, so many layers to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you talk about anger, a lot of forgiveness has to be involved in it to
Yeah.
resolve anger.
Yeah.
Forgiving the person, forgiving yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forgiveness is hard.
Yeah. I think that's what helped me to kind of move on. I mean, the awareness is good. Should have talked to you when it happened for myself. But yeah, forgiveness is really the key. I mean, today, if we're talking about this, the awareness is there. You know, you are shining. I guess the vocabulary is also important, and the word is control. Like what you said earlier, right? Control. And I realized that. I remember during that time, I was like, just forgive. The word I told myself was forgive, and you know what? This is a very complex situation. I told myself I'm not God, and that kind of helped me move on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not God. I guess I have reached my limit, but am I still going to be there for that person? Yes. You know, am I the closest? No, not really. You know, we're a very different season of our life right now. I think after knowing that person is seeking help and all, so I was like, okay, I can take a step back.
Yeah.
You know, from this, and just to be very clear that we are not the savior of the day and all. But yeah, thanks for bringing that word, that vocab of the word control. I think it kind of clicked in me, and also forgiveness.
Yeah,
Forgiveness.
so I think for friends and family who witness or is supporting someone who is going through that, take care of your mental health by really taking action. You know,
Right.
you don't just talk about it, don't just think about it. Like, of all people, if you're really supporting someone, all the more you should take action to take
Yeah.
care of your own mental health.
Yeah.
You know, and do very practical steps. Like, if journaling helps, journal. Talk to religious leaders, or faith-based leaders. If it helps, it helps. So take actual action
Right.
and know your boundaries, because everyone has their own capacity.
Right.
If this person, the journey of supporting this person is actually affecting you to an extent that you
This is so good. Yeah.
cannot function like normally, like you're losing sleep, you're not eating, then you know that that's the red flag. You know that it's time to maybe seek help.
Yeah.
Getting additional support. You're not giving up on this person.
Yeah, yeah.
But get help. Get help.
Do you think like for other kind of sickness, like physical sickness, right? Like if you figure out and you find out about it early, then the chance of getting better from it is higher. Do you think it also applies to mental?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if they figure out early,
Yeah.
and then what about like is it possible for people who having a suicidal thought and then dealing and struggling with this to be healed? Do you think it's possible? Because I know that some people say that once you have that thought, it's always there and it can never go off.
No,
But
I think there are chances of recovery. It's probably just that it becomes part of you.
Okay.
Yeah, it will become part of you. You will not forget about it. You might be more, just like how if I sprained my ankle last year, right?
Yeah.
And the chances of me spraining again, I think, will be higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just common. Even
Awareness
with
of it.
the physical, so you're more attuned to it, so maybe you're more sensitive to it. But it's not all bad. A lot of people think that, oh, I've gone through like an episode last year and I've recovered, but now something happened and I got triggered and I'm going back there again. Like, how am I regressing?
Yeah, yeah. Regressing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I?
It's not true, because the fact that you're noticing that you might regress, that is actually an enlarged capacity of your awareness
Oh, wow.
of your emotions.
Right.
So it's not all bad. Yeah, previously, why would you actually, what's that word? Fall into the rabbit hole, so called, is because there wasn't awareness
I see.
back
Okay.
then. So before you knew it, bam, you're experiencing burnout already. But now you are afraid, but it's good because that means you are aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see it that way. It's not all bad. We are not regressing.
This has definitely helped me, especially. All right. Yeah. Sometimes you feel that they're in a rabbit hole and that's it. They will forever be in a rabbit hole. But no, actually, a person can come out of it. Right. And thanks, Lynnette, for today. I really appreciate the conversation we have.
Yeah, to think about it, right? Like other mental health issues, like I went through an anxiety disorder. Is that how do you call
Yeah.
it? Before, like after I give birth to my son, and then it was pandemic, right? Then I went through it for a while,
Yeah.
and what helps me was I mean I'm not aware of, I don't know any therapies or whoever I can talk to, but that time exercising helped. Went to exercise, and then I think not long after that I lost my mom. I think it's like kind of like, but exercising helped, and I tell myself like I don't want to get back there again. I mean I felt that I'm healed, I'm not like disturbed by it anymore,
Yeah.
but I mean it makes sense because like I really heard people saying that once you are suicidal, you are
Yeah.
always a suicidal.
No,
And then like
right?
once you have an anxiety, you will always have an anxiety. But now seeing from your perspective, you're a psychologist, right? And then you say that it's possible for people to recover, right? Yeah, I think that's good.
Absolutely. It's just that we confuse with, just because I'm aware of it
Okay.
doesn't mean I'm falling in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for me to understand better, right? Can I say that like suicide or someone going through suicidal tendencies is also like someone going through grief, where there will be, like how when we grieve, right? Today I lose my mom. Maybe it's not a big impact, but 2 years down the road, suddenly I start crying because I ate a bowl of beef noodles and like reminds you of mom, right? Can I say that suicidal tendency or someone who is going through it also is something similar where, they recover and then
There's a trigger.
down the road there's another trigger again? Is it right to say that, or no, it's not at all?
Probably not so similar.
Okay.
Because for someone who would probably perpetually or periodically think about it, this person, chances are that this person still are going through depression.
Okay.
Yeah, so their mood is constantly probably at a low.
Okay.
Yeah, not so motivated. So the thought of ending their life is there. Yeah,
Right.
so it's rarely to see someone like suddenly like super ons and then suddenly trigger like, oh no, I think I want to die. No.
Okay.
This person, the underlying issue would have been depression. Yeah.
Thanks for that. I think there's a big difference between like depression and also grieving.
Correct.
In a
So,
sense, right?
yeah, so grieving is not depression.
Right. Thanks for that. Babe, anything else you want to ask Lynnette? No? I think this conversation has been really helpful for me. How about you, babe? Is it? I mean, as we are talking about
It
this,
helps me to help you.
yeah, I have to. I mean, I want to be very, very honest. I think today, this particular episode, it's something that is also very dear to me because, on one hand, I really don't want to see someone lose their life. On the other hand, like, oh man, I have to trust the process. These three words are, ugh. Like, if
know,
someone tell
right?
me trust the process, like, I know, but I mean, that's the reality, as we're talking about this as well, thinking about this person that we used to help, he's doing better. I get to trust the process and know that. And today, thanks for sharing about how like sometimes it's not us. I need reinforcement. I'm just really glad. I thank God that I didn't fall into a rabbit hole myself of like, why I do this? I'm such a lousy pastor. I am such a lousy leader. I could have done better.
Actually, as
Thanks,
a
babe, for
pastor,
helping me that. Yeah.
as a pastor, right, you actually need a lot of support. There's a
Absolutely.
misconception out there, really widespread.
Yeah.
People think that a religious leader, they don't have suicidal thought. But in reality,
Yeah.
there are a lot of news, that actually a lot of pastors, I don't know of other faith how, but there are a
Yeah,
lot of
we've heard of
pastors who
stories to that.
actually committed suicide.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the nature of your work. You carry a lot of people's burden.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you really want your line of work is loving people.
Yeah.
Right. And then you feel like if you're not helping this person, you're not loving this person.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part. And that's the
I mean, you have the potential to fall into it and to. I mean, I thank God I've never had it. But yeah, I know what you mean because we've also heard of
Correct,
pastors who who take their own lives because the burden was there, and it could be also in relation to helping people
Correct.
and not helping them see the light, and they are like putting the responsibility on themselves. Yeah, which is a crazy thing.
So
Yeah,
again, it's really not seeing a way out.
right.
And that is the only way possible for them
Mm-hmm.
to get out of the misery.
Yeah.
So if we could just, coming back to the options. Yeah, so if I can also just end it with this, so there's this gatekeeper training,
Okay.
suicide gatekeeper training that people can actually attend to learn more.
Suicide gatekeeper training.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they usually use a framework called QPR.
Okay.
So if you're interested, you can actually look up for it and sign up for it. But
Alright.
QPR is a short abbreviation, acronym that means question, persuade, refer.
Question, persuade, refer.
Meaning, when you meet someone who is in need of help, ask that question.
Okay.
You seem off. Do you want to talk about it?
Mm.
Okay, so all the questioning that we talked about just now,
Right.
talk about ideation, talk about what you want, openly talk about it.
Okay.
Persuade is the part where you want to ask them, you want to persuade them out of it,
Right.
but not in the very forceful way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen to them. What are they really talking? What's the underlying issue? What is the underlying emotion?
Right.
And if you feel like you cannot help anymore, like it's out of your competency, refer.
Okay.
So QP.
PR.
that's so good.
Thanks, Lynnette. Thanks, guys, for listening to this episode. I know it's a long one, but if you know someone who is going through this, seek help. Don't do it alone. We will drop Lynnette's information in our details. And yeah, please drop her an email, contact, and know that you're not alone. Thanks for joining us for this episode. We'll see you in the next one.